There is a mountain in the northern Urals that the local Mansi people call Dead. On the night of February 1st, 1959, 9 experienced hikers are asleep on its wind-scoured shoulder in one canvas tent, dug into the snow. Sometime in the night, someone takes a knife and cuts through the wall of that tent from the inside, and all 9 of them walk out into a minus 25-degree night. No boots, most of them in socks, one of them barefoot. They walk away from their coats, their axes, their food, their skis, away from the only shelter for 50 kilometers, down the open slope, into the dark, in a line, walking, not running. Every one of them will be dead within hours. These were not tourists. They were candidates for the hardest hiking certification the Soviet Union had. They knew exactly what leaving that tent meant. They left anyway. Whatever was on that slope frightened 9 seasoned mountaineers more than certain death by freezing. For 67 years, this has been the most argued over case file in the world. And in 2021, science may finally have caught the killer. This is the Static Files, and this file is Dyatlov Pass. Start before the ending, because these were people, not corpses. January 23rd, 1959. 10 students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute board a train out of Sverdlovsk, laughing, passing a mandolin around the car. Their leader is Igor Dyatlov, 23, an engineer who builds his own radios and his own gear. The plan is a grade 3 trek, the top Soviet difficulty rating, 300 kilometers on skis through the dead of the Ural winter to a mountain called Otorten. They are young: Nikolai Thibaut Brignol, Lyudmila Dubinina, Zinaida Kolmogorova, Rustem Slobodin, Yuri Doroshenko, Yuri Krivonishenko, Alexander Kolevatov, and one veteran, Semyon Zolotaryov, 38, a decorated soldier who fought through the entire war. We know this trip almost hour by hour because they documented it themselves. Their cameras and journals survived. The photographs show them grinning through frost-caked scarves, hauling sleds, clowning for the lens. Friends in their 20s, doing the thing they loved most. On January 28th, the 10th member, Yuri Yudin, gets sick. Joint pain bad enough to end his trip. There is a photograph of the goodbye. Yudin hugging Lyudmila Dubinina, smiling, embarrassed. He turns back. 9 go on. Yuri Yudin will spend the rest of his life as the man who turned around. February 1st, late afternoon. The 9 climb onto the open eastern shoulder of Kolatsiakal, Dead Mountain. Dead in the Mansi language, because nothing lives up there. No trees, no game, nothing but wind. And instead of dropping back to the tree line, they camp on the open slope. To pitch the tent in that wind, they do exactly what the manuals say. They dig. They cut a flat platform into the snowpack and set the tent inside it, sheltered from the weather. Textbook Soviet mountaineering. Remember the cut in that slope. It matters more than anything else in this file, and no one on Earth will understand why for 62 years. Their last photographs show them digging that platform in fading light, snow blowing sideways. That evening they eat, hang their boots, and type up a joke newspaper about the trip. Then the lanterns go out. February 20th. No No telegram has come home. Families raise the alarm, and the Institute sends the first search parties, volunteer students and teachers on skis, into the same winter. On February 26th, they find the tent. It is half collapsed, drifted with snow, and quiet. The skis are planted, the stove, the boots, 9 coats, the food, Dyatlov's journal, all still inside. Everything a person needs to survive that mountain, folded and waiting. And down one wall, long slashes. The forensic examination confirms it. The tent was cut open from the inside. Below the tent, footprints. 8, maybe 9 sets, pressed into the wind-hardened snow. Sock feet. 1 bare foot. 1 single felt boot. They walk downhill in a loose, orderly line. No signs of chase. No second group. No animal tracks. 9 people, walking away from their own survival until the prints vanish under drifted snow. At the tree line, 1.5 kilometers down, stands a giant cedar. Under it, a dead campfire. Beside it, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, in their underwear. Their hands are burned from fighting to keep the fire alive. Above them, the cedar's branches are snapped off 5 meters up, as if someone climbed, again and again, to look back toward the tent. Then, over the following days, the line back. Igor Dyatlov, 300 meters up the slope from the cedar. Zinaida Kolmogorova, further up. Rustem Slobodin between them, a fracture across his skull. All 3 frozen mid-stride, and all 3 facing the tent. They did not die fleeing. They died trying to go back. 5 found, 4 missing. The search grinds on through March, through April. Nothing. The mountain holds its last 4 for over 2 months, and when it gives them up on May 4th, under 4 meters of snow in a ravine, the case stops making sense entirely. Dubinina, Zolotaryov, Kolevatov, Thibaut Brignol, the best dressed of the 9, wearing clothes taken from the 2 who died first, lying on a floor of cut branches, a shelter built with clear-headed, deliberate work. Thibaut Brignol's skull is crushed. Dubinina and Zolotaryov's chests are caved in, ribs snapped in rows, injuries the examiner compares to a car crash, but the skin over the shattered ribs is unbroken. Dubinina's tongue and eyes are gone, and some of the clothing carries radiation. The Soviet investigation looks at all of this for 3 months, then closes the case with a single sentence. The hikers died of a compelling natural force. No name, no mechanism. The file is sealed. The pass is quietly closed to hikers for 3 years. And that one phrase spends the next 60 years doing very heavy lifting. So what force is that compelling? Theory 1. The investigators' first thought. The Mansi, local hunters whose sacred lands these supposedly were. It falls apart in weeks. No other footprints. Nothing stolen. No tradition of violence. No grudge about that mountain. In fact, Mansi hunters guided the searchers through the terrain. First suspects, also first helpers, cleared. Theory 2. The military. And this one comes with real evidence attached. The radiation. Reports from other hikers that winter of glowing orbs over the northern Urals. A war veteran among the dead. Here is what the evidence supports. Krivonishenko worked at Mayak, the plutonium plant behind the 57 Kishtim disaster, and served in its cleanup. Contaminated work clothes follow their owner, and most of the hot garments trace back to him, though not cleanly all of them. The orbs match documented Soviet rocket launches of the era. The military lane never quite empties, but nothing in it breaks bones. Theory 3 is quieter and stranger. Infrasound. The dome of Kholat-Syakhl, in the right wind, can shed spinning vortices of air, pressure waves below the threshold of hearing, and in lab conditions, infrasound produces dread, nausea, panic with no visible cause. The idea, made famous by the book Dead Mountain, is that the mountain itself played a note that drove 9 rational people out of their tent. Elegant, scientifically real, completely unprovable. And then there is the theory the internet loves most, because the file contains 2 artifacts that should not exist. The first is a typed page, the joke newspaper from their final evening, titled Evening O'Torton. One line reads, "From now on, we know that snowmen exist. They can be found in the northern Urals, next to Mount O'Torton." Hours after someone typed that sentence, all 9 were dead. The second artifact is a photograph, frame 17, from one of the group's cameras, a dark, blurred figure standing among the trees, watching. Here is what the file actually says. The snowmen line was a joke, almost certainly about themselves. 9 unwashed hikers a week past their last bath. The original page was never even recovered. Only a transcript survives. And frame 17, by the boring math of who stood where, is almost certainly one of the group stepping out of the trees at dusk. Almost certainly. It is still the most haunting joke in mountaineering history. Which leaves the ordinary suspects, a katabatic windstorm, or simple cold panic in the dark. And for 60 years, every mundane theory has died on the same rock. What crushes a chest like a car crash, in rows of clean rib fractures, without leaving a mark on the skin? Answer that, and you have the case. In 2021, 2 scientists finally did. 2019, Russia reopens the file, 60 years late. In July of 2020, the prosecutor's office announces its verdict: an avalanche and poor visibility. Everyone hates it, for good reasons. The slope reads as too shallow, the searchers found no debris, and 9 elite hikers do not camp in a slide path. The verdict answers nothing, but it provokes 2 men who can. Johann Gaume runs a snow avalanche lab in Switzerland. Alexander Puzrin models how ground fails under load in Zurich. In January 2021, in a nature journal, they publish a different kind of answer. Not a wall of snow thundering down Dead Mountain. Something smaller, quieter, and far more sinister. A slab. Go back to February 1st. The textbook trenched the hiker's cut severed the base of a buried fragile layer in the snowpack, leaving a heavy slab above the tent, hanging on friction alone. Then the katabatic wind spends the night quietly stacking snow onto that slab, gram by gram, while the 9 sleep. The model puts the failure point around 9 hours after the cut. In the blackest part of the night, the slope lets go. A block of dense snow, maybe 5 meters across, drops onto the tent. By morning, wind and drift have erased almost every trace. The searchers weren't blind. There was nothing left to see. The injuries are where the model becomes the answer. To simulate snow hitting bodies, Gomes borrowed simulation code with a Hollywood pedigree from the animation work behind Disney's Frozen, fused with automotive crash test data. The victims weren't standing in an avalanche's path. They were lying flat, pinned between a falling slab and the rigid floor of skis and gear beneath them. A vice, not a wave, that crushes ribs and skulls in rows, deep inside the body, while the skin shows almost nothing. The car crash injuries without the car. And it explains the tent. The slab pins the tent wall, maybe pins people under it. The entrance is unreachable. Injured friends, darkness, the slope above still settling. No way of knowing the mountain is finished. So you cut your way out of the wall and head for the only cover that exists, the tree line. Not panic, triage. The most rational decision available, made on a night cold enough to kill. The paper drew fire, so the scientists went to the mountain. 3 expeditions followed. In the summer of 2021, drones measured the slope above the tent site at over 30 degrees. Avalanche country, disguised by the terrain's step-like profile. In January 2022, fresh slab avalanches were documented less than 3 kilometers from the tent site. The impossible avalanche happens there, quietly, in the dark. By morning, the mountain looks innocent again. Honesty before the end, because this channel deals in it. The slab model explains the cut tent, the walking retreat, and the impossible injuries. It has never been proven, and its own authors say so. A mechanism, not a conviction. The radiation keeps its shadow. Frame 17 keeps its blur, and Dubinina's missing tongue has the answer nobody wants. 3 months in a ravine of running meltwater, decomposition, and scavengers. Nothing stranger, and nothing kinder. The 9 were buried in Yekaterinburg, under a memorial bearing all their faces. The pass where they died now carries Dyatlov's name. Yuri Yudin, the man who turned around, visited that memorial for 50 years, carrying the little teddy bear Lyudmila Dubinina pressed into his hands the day they said goodbye. He died in 2013, and his ashes were buried beside his friends. The 10th member of the group, finally back with his team. They walked out of that tent to survive the next 5 minutes. And they were right to try. The mountain gave them nothing afterward, except 62 years later, maybe, at last, an explanation. Real cases don't get endings. They get closer. If this file deserved the deep look, like this video so the algorithm knows it, subscribe for the cases that never closed, and tell me below, on that slope, in the dark, would you have cut your way out too?